Shardbound is a digital card game like you have never seen before. Here is everything you need to know about the game, its future prospects, and why I think it will be the biggest Web3 TCG that is ever released. I will cover off a range of topics in this video. How it differs from your classic TCG games, the different deck building elements, the different classes and their varying playstyles, what makes the gameplay loop so addictive, the stunning visuals and sound design, the ranked system and what it could mean for esports, and the upcoming release of the game. Shardbound is a tactics cross TCG game. Think of if Hearthstone and Final Fantasy Tactics had a very beautiful baby. How it differs from your classic TCG games is in most TCGs the rules are very simple. Place a card and try and defeat your opponent's hero. This is the same in Rainy, Gods Unchained, and even Hearthstone. In Shardbound, you summon your units onto a hex grid board instead. They can move and attack each turn, and some even have special abilities relating to movement or even unique ways of dealing damage or healing allies that they can use on every single turn for a small mana cost. But the UI and the overall game complexity doesn't make all of this feel overwhelming. There are a few different deck building elements in Shardbound. You build your deck from the collection screen and they must have a total of 25 cards. Normally you must build a deck using only cards from the same color as your faction leader, and you can add 3 of any common card to your deck, 2 of any silver, and 1 of gold to help with the overall balancing of the systems. Each hero can choose from an array of relics, but some relics will allow you to combine the multiple factions into one deck. Relics will also grant them a unique power during battle that costs mana similar to a playable card. For example, the Land Shapers prefer very terrain-reliant effects, and the Bloodbinders tend to amass large armies of thralls. A combination of these allows you to manipulate the terrain, helping your thralls eliminate enemies in choke positions on the board. Even deeper than this, each card can be upgraded. You will need duplicates of the card and an assortment of other cards of the same rarity to upgrade them and make them more powerful. This creates a strong sense of progression and a reason to keep coming back each and every day so that you can claim free cards every day from the shop. There are 5 major factions in the world of Shardbound. There are the Steel Singers, which have a lot of ranged units and a lot of abilities that allow them to upgrade the mechs, allow them to attack twice and other things like that. We have the Wayfinders, which have a lot of different pieces of weaponry and armor and allow units to upgrade and help out each other on the battlefield. Next up, we have the Land Shapers, which can do a lot when it comes to the terrain. Not only do they have lots of spells and other abilities that swap units on the battlefield, but they can remove boulders and or use them to their advantage. After that are the Fate Keepers. These have a lot of very powerful spells that not only help your allies, but cause destruction against your opponents. And lastly, we have the Bloodbinders. I have played the most of them out of anyone, and not only do they have a lot of cards that take a toll on your own hero, but they have powerful abilities, venomous attacks, and summon lots of thrall zombies onto the battlefield to wreak havoc on your opponent. The core gameplay loop in Shardbound is really addictive, and I will quickly break down how the game is played. Each turn you are given a mana crystal, but 1 unspent mana crystal can be banked for future rounds of play, 1 per turn of course. You draw a card and then place down your units and spells. Units can move up to 3 spaces each turn and can move and attack on the same turn they are summoned. Not forgetting that they can move and attack in any order. You might place them, have them attack an opponent, and then move them away from combat, or place them, move them into the fray and have them attack an opponent. Now, you receive an extra mana each turn, but you can also destroy the blue mana crystals to gain more mana. Both one-time use mana and permanent mana for future turns. Finally, victory crystals spawn every 2 rounds, but if either player gets the points and then survive the turn, they are consumed. You can win the game by either defeating your opponent's hero or consuming 10 victory points. What makes the game so addicting is the various maps, variability in the way the crystals spawn, and strategically thinking around your opponent. No 2 battles are ever the same when you're playing Shardbound, and you really need to use your strategic prowess to come out on top against your opponent. I also just really quickly wanted to say a big thanks to Shardbound for sponsoring this video. I know everyone says graphics don't matter and it's all about gameplay. Thankfully, Shardbound has both. Sound and visuals are important, especially when you are bringing your cards to life. Yu-Gi-Oh! Would have been a very boring show if they didn't find a way to make the monsters appear on the battlefield. The game has a beautiful and distinct visual style, something that I can see myself playing for hours on end, and every character has voice lines that make the battle feel like it's really unfolding. Shardbound currently has a standard ELO ranked system. Not only is the game fun to play, but it is also fun to watch and highly strategic. I expect an esports scene on the level of Hearthstone to crop up and grow over time. I'm really looking forward to the different sorts of cinematic 1v1 matches and the really interesting plays and counterplays that occur on the esports level. Obviously, I'm not nearly as good as some of the other pro TCG players that are playing the Shardbound beta at the moment, but I can see how they would make some really unique plays, things that are unexpected, and as an audience member, I would really love to see those sorts of things, and I think they are definitely possible in Shardbound. Now, even though we say a lot of nice things about Shardbound, I do have some minor current issues and concerns. Although the battle pass and freebies in the store are excellent, there's also always a risk in making progression feel too slow. This is a difficult balance since monetizing a game is important. You don't want people to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars to keep the progression at a normal pace of play so that they keep coming back and keep playing the game without feeling like they've stalled out at any point. The ability to upgrade cards can also give players an unfair advantage. Matchmaking will need to consider the deck's upgrades when matchmaking, but this causes its own set of issues. For example, I might have a Wayfinder deck where pretty much none of my cards are upgraded, and a Bloodbinders deck which it's all pretty much maxed out. This means with Bloodbinders I might get to the top of the ranks, but then I could never really play my Wayfinders because they don't have very good cards. Now, as for the upcoming release of the game, I have played both playtests of Shardbound so far. The progress, especially in the UI and collection changes, has been incredibly fast at an awesome level of polish. In the previous beta they had early server issues, but this beta was smooth as butter, and I have not seen anyone with concerns over in the Discord. In November, they raised an additional $5 million in capital and already have the backing of IMX, one of the leading players in the space of Web3 gaming. The game is planned for a full release sometime in 2024. It's hard to say when exactly, but there will likely be more playtests beforehand. So, don't forget to click the link in the description down below. Everyone who pre-registers will get some bonus gifts when the game launches, and it will put you in the running to make sure that you are getting involved with future playtests of the game. And trust me, if you're interested in TCGs, if you're interested in Web3 gaming, you want to try Shardbound.